you can actually clear with calm, hopefully. But then if you join the December batch, there will be a lot of panic, there will be a lot of guesswork if you're actually poor in your content as well. If you have failed in your prelims, let's say 3 times, and if you have completed your optional course, let's say optional you have completed, you have actually finished your answer writing course as well. You're actually pretty good in your optional and answer writing, and all you need to clear is prelims, and then you're confirmed that you will be in the holy PDF. Then this course is for you. Today, we are going to be discussing about the orientation regarding the Dominant Prelims. And before that, let me tell you, I am actually leading the Dominant Prelims here. So it's my duty to actually sell this course to all of you. But then I'm not here in order to market my course here. Rather, I'm here in front of you to provide you insights on what this course will be, and also regarding who should actually join this course. Now, joining a course in December is actually the usual case in case of prelims course, right? You actually finish your mains portions, be it your optional courses, or in case your GS courses, like we have the Smash Mains, and we actually get into prelims mode in December. So this is a usual pattern here. But then why should you join a course in July? Now, joining a course in July is for not actually everyone. Okay, so as I said, I'm going to be talking to you as a friend, talking to you as a mentor to actually guide you in it. Now, who actually should join this course is the most important question here. If you're a first timer, should you join this course? Definitely no. You should be joining any mentorship course out there, but then you should not be focusing completely into your prelims preparation, right? You should be joining any mains course or even your optional course and finishing on that. And after December, you can actually join the Dominant Prelims December course. If you're actually second attempt, what should you do? You should actually joining a mentorship program or even an optional program, and you should be preparing on that as well. But then if you have failed in your prelims, let's say 3 times, and if you have completed your optional course, let's say optional you have completed, you have actually finished your answer writing course as well. You're actually pretty good in your optional and answer writing, and all you need to clear is prelims, and then you're confirmed that you will be in the holy PDF. Then this course is for you, because the only thing that you need to do is now clear prelims, after which your optional is done, your answer writing is done, and then you can completely go into your mains preparation. Let's say you have not qualified prelims after your 3 attempts. The same category goes for you. You have already finished your optional. You have already finished your GS mains answer writing. Now what do you need to do? In your 3 attempts, you have not been able to qualify prelims. Now you need to go for this course. Let's say you are preparing for Indian Forest Service. Indian Forest Service. Now, in case of Indian Forest Service, the only thing that you need to clear is your prelims. And the rest, you need to actually prepare for your 2 forest options. That is actually pretty simple because the exam is on December, right? So in case you're preparing for your forest service, you can actually join this course. Or else, if you have failed your prelims in 2 to 3 times and you want to clear prelims it somehow, you need to put all that you have in this attempt itself. Now that is why this course is actually suited for people who have failed your prelims in actually 2 times, or actually are preparing for this optional course. Now, let me ask you a very simple question regarding the same. So, as all of you know, most of you might have actually given your prelims, right? Most of you actually might given your prelims maybe n number of times. So, as you have given your 2025 attempt, you actually know that prelims is getting harder and harder every year, right? So, you have UPSC is asking a lot of unpredictable questions and options, as all of you know. Because in this prelims as well, we had a lot of very difficult questions, be it the international year or something like that. You had the different GDP calculation question, and you also had very difficult questions in this year. Also, the PYQ similarity is decreasing very fast. Let's say in 2022, the questions that had a similarity of the PYQs of the last 5 years were actually significantly very high. Actually, around 10 to 12 questions you'll easily get if you had gone through the PYQs of the last 5 years. Also, the elimination has become more critical. Previously, there are a lot of videos available on YouTube, right? And those saying that in 2026 prelims, they have scored like 130 marks, 140 marks. Do you think that this that was actually very hard to score, maybe 130, 140 in the 2016 prelims. The cutoff was around 116. So do you think it's very hard to score 120 in 2016 prelims? No. But then when you compare after 2023, the elimination techniques have become very harder. Now it's becoming very hard to eliminate all these questions. You can't just directly go and use all these elimination techniques that all these YouTubers and other people actually propagate the same. Also, in case of CSAT as well, even for 2025 as well, the CSAT has been getting harder and harder. 2023 was the hardest. After that, people have started preparing. 2024 was a bit easier. But then when comparing to 2025 as well, CSAT was harder. Now, I have many mentees who have actually secured more than 100 marks in their GS this year, but then have failed because of their CSAT. So let me tell you, if you start preparing in December, ask yourself, would you be able to clear CSAT at that time? Would you be able to eliminate all the options? So I would say, would you be able to learn all these elimination techniques if you join December? Would you be able to identify all the unpredictable options, or let's say even improve your elimination techniques? Or else would you be able to, I guess I would like to say that after your 3 failures, if you're actually thinking that by December, I'll just join a crash course, then I'll go for it. You're actually repeating the same mistake. If you want to actually clear 2026, then I would definitely suggest you to take a course which happens in July. Therefore, we can have a lot of more mentorship sessions and you can actually start preparing for prelims from today itself. So, as I said in my pre-webinar video, all that you have to do is at least score more than 55 questions correct, right? You must have seen this in your pre-webinar video as well. So, as you can see here, if you attempt around 80 questions, you need to get at least 55 correct for you to get around 94 marks. I have taken the cutoff here as 94 because you never know, right? UPSC have this habit of becoming very unpredictable, as we have seen the hydrogels question, as we have seen the polity question, as we have seen the no water from the rivers reaches the Red Sea. So UPSC may have made all these mistakes. So just to be on the safer side, we need to get at least 94 to be able to get into mains this time. Let's say you attempt 88 questions, you need to get at least 57 correct. If you attempt all the 100 questions, as I usually do, you need to get at least 60 correct to get 94 cutoff, right? So, as I said in my pre-webinar video, it's very safe to say that, or it's mandatory to get at least 60 correct for you to have a seat in the 15,000 people who are going to write mains in 2026 as well. Now, how would you get that 60 marks? 60 correct is the beautiful question, right? Or the magical question. As I said, 30 to 35 questions, you will get through to your knowledge. 10 to 15 or 15 to 20 questions, it would be, you need to apply your knowledge as well as your logic. And then you need to focus more on your, or I would say 10 to 15 questions, you would only get through your logical and elimination techniques. Now, this is where you need to focus more. Also, you need to focus on your knowledge, because in your first round, you will get at least 20 to 25 questions. And those are very simple questions that all of the people get. So you can't actually miss out on that. But then this is where the game actually works. If you're able to get at least the 10 to 15 logical questions, you will get in. If you don't get it, you won't be there in the PDF. Now, this is exactly, we at Civilsdaily is going to be focusing on the dominant prelims as well. Of course, we'll be focusing on the content side as well. But then I, as a person, is actually known for my logical and elimination techniques. People actually come to me, people actually join my courses for my logical and elimination techniques. So we'll be focusing more on this. Now, before that, before going to all these logical and elimination techniques, let me ask you a very simple question, okay? All of you can actually reply in the comment section. Now, why didn't you clear your prelims this time? I'm not talking about the marks. Just think about the strategy. Why didn't you clear the prelims this time? So you can actually comment here. So be it Abhay, Anish, Bhagyashree, Bhumika, Darsha, Fiza, like everyone. Why didn't you clear prelims this time? Or what do you think went wrong this time? Was it the time management? Was it not focusing on micro themes? Was it that you joined a December or even a January course and then it became too late? So what do you think was the reason? Anyone, if you like to comment your issue? Okay, just leave it. Here, I have basically compiled almost all the reasons that actually aspirants usually make the mistakes. So usually what they do, they'll actually overemphasize on their study and they give actually less important on their testing, which means they usually you need to do at least 5,000 questions, right? So you have to at least attempt around 100 mock tests. So what they usually people do, they actually revise the Lakshmi on maybe 3 times, 4 times, and they would not take polity test. And then what does it lead to? You actually fail to apply knowledge under pressure. They'll actually take the December or they'll actually take the January, February course, which actually lead to a delayed mock test practice, wherein they'll actually fail to understand what mistakes they are doing that actually lead to prelims, failure of prelims, lack of strategic mentorship, which is the most significant thing. Maybe the mentor you had did not focus on your elimination techniques, or he did not give you the right guidance. That might be the reason that you failed prelims. No mastery of elimination techniques is definitely there. Delayed realization of the prelim specific demands, as in you did not focus on the PYQ, you did not study the PYQ content, you did not focus on CSAT. All these issues might have actually led you to failure of prelims. So what it usually means is that you started on January, which led to the delay. Starting January, you have n number of things to do, right? You need to go through the content, elimination techniques, and all these factors, which actually led to the backlog, which actually led to no testing, then panic, then failure, then you actually failed in the prelims as well. So let's start by saying about the 2 main issues here. We'll deal with the overemphasis of studying and underemphasis of testing, and also delayed the mock test practice. Now, this is exactly why we emphasize on you joining the July course. Because when you start in July, what happens is that you can actually focus on your mains part as well. Also, you can actually focus on your prelims as well. You know, if you actually write a test this time, okay, and you come to me for your mentorship, then I will be able to understand where you're going wrong. Let's say in case of polity, you might be very weak in constitutional areas or maybe in parliament areas. Now, during this time, you can actually improve on that. Now, what happens if you take a January course? Let's say you're weak in some of the subjects. Now, you might need at least 2 weeks to prepare on that subject. Now, you can't actually provide 2 weeks for a particular subject when you start preparing in January. Now, this is where everything goes in a loop and you fail in the prelims as next year. But then, if you start in July, you will early understand where you're going wrong, be it in your strategies and be it in the subjects that you're lacking. Then you can improve on those subjects as well. So, you must understand that December is mainly for revision. Okay. And it's not basically for discovery. And by discovery, I mean that you shouldn't discover what your faults are, or you shouldn't discover where you're lacking in December. Rather, you should be discovering where your strategies are going wrong, which subjects you are lacking in this time itself. Thereby, preparing and focusing more on those subjects in July or be it in August. And actually, December is the time for revision, wherein you actually start taking the advanced and also the full test series. So, let's say, what are the things that you need to finish in December? Let's say you start in December. You need to revise your static content more than 3 times. You need to attempt more than 100 plus mock papers. You need to go through around 10 years of PYQ questions. I would suggest you to go from 2020, 2013 to 2025. That is, you have to focus on more than 12 years of PYQ content. You have to study the PYQ content of 5 years. Let's say in this year, a question regarding Aragatta was asked, which actually came in 2016. So you have to study some of the PYQ content as well. You have to improve your logical and elimination techniques. You have to study 8 to 12 months of current affairs. You have to focus on CSAT, which is actually getting very harder and harder every year. Also, as I said before, you have to focus on elimination techniques. Now, is it possible to study all of this in only 5 months is the basic question. Can you actually do 100 plus mock papers, 100 plus PYQ content, improve your logic, 12 months of current affairs in the 5 months? Now, this is where if you don't join the July batch, or even maybe the August, or if you start preparing in January, this is where the issue comes. You'll have a lot of backlog, which actually leads to a lot of pressure, which actually affects your mental health, which actually affects your physical health. You'll get into panic mode and then everything is lost. So don't get into the loop. If you have actually given your 3 attempts, maybe 2 attempts and more, try joining a course which actually happens in these months. So what happens if you take the test series in December? As you know, as I said just now, we have just 4 to 5 months left, which you will have no time to reflect, rework, rebounds. Let's say you are getting only 30 marks in polity. Then if you're starting in December, you won't have time to improve on your polity. Let's say you're making mistakes in your test strategy. Let's say on the number of questions you do, on the time management that you do. If you start in December, you will be very late to realize the same and actually improve on the same. If you actually come to me on January, okay, fine, I would be able to improve in some cases. But then if you actually come to July, I would, starting from day 1, I would basically understand all the issues that you're making. And I will have you for 11 months in order to improve. So that is actually very significant. We'll have around close to 42 sessions. If you join in July, rather than December, you will only have around 24 sessions. So, but then, as I said, by joining the July batch, you will have access to more number of tests, which actually means you will be doing a more number of mistakes, and which will actually lead to analyzing your strategic mistakes, analyzing all the issues the way you're going wrong, which will actually lead to more number of learnings as well. So what happens if you start in July? The tests are basically spaced out, meaning that on every test, you will have close to 2 weeks of gap. So you can actually focus on your prelims as well as focus on your mains as well, be it your optional or be it your GS answer writing. You can test basically different approaches which actually suit you, maybe different time management. Let's say first round you'll be finishing on 1 hour. Next time you can finish the first round in 20 minutes. Next time you can finish your first round in 30 minutes. You can start trying multiple rounds method. You can go for single round method. So these are different strategies that you can try it out right now and maybe figure out the best attempt by December as well. You can learn how to apply the logical and elimination techniques right now. You will have more time to focus on your PYQ questions, PYQ content, be it CSAT, be it the PYQ content of the last 5 years. You will have ample time if you start preparing in July as well. So when you actually compare the July and December batch, what you will be able to understand here is that, so let's say you start from July here. Okay, you can focus on your mains because we'll have around 14 days of gap between the subjects. You can finish your contemporary chapters, Lakshmikant for polity, and then you can take test. But then if you're actually planning to start from December, you'll actually be focusing on only the mains right now. Now from November to January, you can actually focus on your revision and test if you're joining the July batch. Rather, if you start from December, you will only be finishing the syllabus or your first time reading. And by February to April, you will be going into a full test mode. You can attempt all the previous year questions. You can try all the logical methods, and also you can focus on the PYQ content as well. But then in this case, you'll be actually doing the core test, which is actually the first level of test if you join the December batch. Also, you can actually clear with calm, hopefully. But then if you join the December batch, there will be a lot of panic. There will be a lot of guesswork if you're actually poor in your content as well. So, as I usually say, prelims is not a sprint, okay? It's not something that you can crack in maybe 2 months or 3 months. It requires a lot of effort. It requires basically a lot of effort, hard work, smart work, everything. So don't just join a December batch or even a January batch and try to sprint that time. Rather, it's always better for you to start early and go through maybe walking, running, as in we do in a marathon. So this is basically the timetable of the Dominant Prelims. As you can see here, the first core test, we'll have it from July 19th, the coming Saturday. So as you can see here, the first test is on July, and the second test basically happens on 2nd August. So you have a gap of 14 days. And on that 14 days, you don't need to dedicate the whole 14 days for actually finishing your prelims portions. Rather, what can you do? You can start answer writing on your GS2. You can dedicate at least 3 to 4 hours for your optional as well. Also, you can attempt the polity paper and have a one-on-one mentorship session with me as well. So, contemporarily, what will be you do? You'll be focusing on your prelims. You'll be focusing on all your prelim strategies, and every mistake that you're doing will be correcting in July itself. Also, you will be writing your mains examinations, I mean the GS2 portions, and also you can actually focus on your optional as well. So rather than focusing only on mains, you can actually focus on your prelims, mains, as well as your optional preparation if you actually try to complete all these portions on a particular time. So now dealing with the issues of number 4. Now, what was the issues which I said in number 4? It was basically regarding the logical and elimination techniques, right? Now, as I told you before, the logical and elimination techniques is getting harder and harder every year, okay? Now, previously when I took these sessions, we usually have had the habit of saying that in case of government departments, in case of government ministries, usually UPSC had the habit of taking it wrong, right? So when you compare the past 10 years, in almost all the questions, UPSC have taken the government ministries and departments as wrong. But when you actually came to 2025, if you remember, there was a question regarding the National Rooftop Solar Mission. And in that question, the second statement was regarding the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. Now, if people actually went with the mere logical method, you would have taken it wrong, right? Because usually UPSC have the habit of making it wrong. But then in the 2025 question, the government department was actually, or the government ministry was actually right. Now, this is where I'm telling you, the UPSC elimination techniques are getting harder and harder every year. You can't just blindly take, in case of constitution, it's wrong. In case of government ministries, it's wrong. Let's say in case of 2 familiar statements, one of them would be the answer, wrong. Okay, so it just doesn't happen like that. All the patterns, it can get wrong, it can get right. So you need to dive deep in case of these elimination techniques and not go for a sprint or just watch a session during the time of maybe February and March. You need to start from now, and that is why we have introduced around 12 hours of logical and elimination techniques as well for you, as I have said in the pre-webinar video as well. So as I said just now, the elimination techniques are getting harder and harder every year. You can't just learn the elimination techniques in just 3 months, okay? To develop the intuition. Maybe this time you will be having a very linear approach. You will be thinking only in a factual manner, but then it actually requires a lot of time to actually think in terms of UPSC using the 1% knowledge, or by saying, how does UPSC know this statement? It requires a lot of thinking, okay? You can't just develop all these habits or even the logical and elimination techniques in just 3 to 4 months. So as I said, as you do a number of mocks, you will have more number of mentorship sessions. And in those mentorship sessions, we'll be discussing around 10 to 15 questions on a weekly basis. Thereby, I'll understand how your thinking process is and where you're going wrong. So actually, when you compare the July and the November batch, which we are going to start now, or the December batch, if you join the July batch, you will have close to 42 sessions with me. Every week, we'll have a session close to 15 to 30 minutes. But then if you're joining the November or the December batch, you will have close to 24 sessions with me. So that is actually the significant difference which actually comes in terms of mentorship as well. And you know, actually I can only handle close to 150 or maybe 100 to 150 people, right? So if in case around 100 or 150 people join the Dominant Prelims batch in July, then it would be very hard for me to actually provide mentorship when it comes to November as well. So this is your time to actually join and then get my mentorship as well. So as I said before, how do you get this 10 to 15 logical questions correct, which is actually the game changer if you get into prelims or not? You have to improve your logical and elimination techniques, right? So that is why among the 6 pillars of the Dominant Prelims, we have the one-on-one mentorship session, which will actually be taken by me. Also, we will have around 20 hours of logical and elimination techniques. Also, we are introducing a roundtable discussion for the first time in Delhi, and I'll actually discuss you what this roundtable session is as well. So what do we do in the 20 hours of logical discussion? I'll actually provide you a question first of all. Okay. Then we'll actually go through how we can get the question correct. Yeah. So all of you can try this question here. I hope it is visible. So the question basically says, what would happen if phytoplankton of an ocean is completely destroyed for some reason? The ocean as a carbon sink would be adversely affected. The food chain in the ocean would be adversely affected. The density of the ocean water would drastically decrease. Now, what do you think is the answer to this? Mansi is saying B. Okay, Mansi. Any other person? Like all of you actually watching the session can actually attempt this question and actually comment your answers. Yeah. Anish is saying D. Fisa is saying D. Bhagishree is saying A. Raghavendra is saying B. Steve A. Okay, so all of you basically have different opinions, right? Now let me tell you the logic regarding the same. Okay, all of you those who have seen the pre-webinar video, you must have a better idea on how to do this paper. If you did not watch the pre-webinar video as well, I will be explaining in this video. So first of all, read the question. What would happen if phytoplankton of an ocean is completely destroyed for some reason? Okay, so here phytoplankton would be A. Okay, let's take phytoplankton as A. Now, the first option is saying that the ocean as a carbon sink would be adversely affected. Now, as you can see here, UPSC have introduced an extreme word here, right? Now, what is the extreme word here? The word adversely is the extreme word that UPSC have provided here. Now, is there any relation between phytoplankton and carbon sink? That is the first thing that you need to check here. Is there any relation between phytoplankton and carbon sink? Anyone? Is there any relation? Mansi is saying no. Definitely there's a relation between phytoplankton and carbon sink, right? Because phytoplankton is basically what absorbs all this carbon dioxide and releases the oxygen. So ocean as a carbon sink would be adversely affected. Here, phytoplankton would be A and carbon sink would be B. Okay, now is there any relation between phytoplankton and carbon sink? Yes, there is a relation. Therefore, even if UPSC introduces an extreme word such as adversely, okay, this statement would be correct because there is a relation between phytoplankton and carbon sink. Okay, now the second statement, the food chains in the ocean would be adversely affected. Now here, is there any relation between phytoplankton and food chain? Is there any relation between phytoplankton and food chain? Definitely there's a relation between phytoplankton and food chain, right? It's because the phytoplankton are basically eaten by the zooplankton and the zooplanktons are basically eaten by all the bigger fishes out there. So therefore, phytoplankton A and food chain B has a relation. Therefore, even if UPSC introduces the word adversely there, it doesn't have any impact. So therefore, this statement is also correct. But then, regarding the third statement, the density of the ocean would drastically decrease. Now, is there any relation between phytoplankton and density of the ocean? Is there any relation? Sajal, Shaiva, Bhagishree, Fizar, Sajal, Mansi is saying no, Anish is saying no, Shaiva is saying no. Okay. Now here, UPSC have also introduced the word drastically, right? The density of an ocean water would drastically reduce. Now here, phytoplankton and density of an ocean doesn't have any relation. And UPSC have introduced the word drastically here. Therefore, since it doesn't have any relation and UPSC have introduced the word drastically here, this statement is wrong here. Therefore, the answer would be A, 1 and 2 only. Clear, everyone? So, if there is a relation between A and B, and if UPSC introduces the word extreme word here, then it doesn't have any much relation. But then, if there is no relation between A and B, and then UPSC introduces an extreme word here, then it should be taken as false. Let me ask you one more thing. What if the word drastically is not there? The density of the ocean water would decrease. Now, is the answer A or is the answer D? If the word drastically is not there, then what is the answer here? Steve is saying D. Mansi is saying D. Any other person? Now here, the answer would be D. Now, why is the answer becoming D here? It's because, can UPSC say that not even 0.00001% phytoplanktons doesn't impact the density of the ocean water? Phytoplankton basically has 0.001 gram, right? So does it impact the density of the ocean water? It definitely impacts. Therefore, the answer would be D. But then, does it have a drastic decrease? No. Now, it's basically to eliminate our actually 0.001% logic, which actually means that how can UPSC say that there would not be any decrease? UPSC have introduced the word drastic here. Clear, everyone? So, to summarize, I'll say if there is a relation between A and B, and UPSC introduced the word drastic here, then it doesn't have any impact. But then if A and B doesn't have any relation, and then UPSC introduces the word drastic there, then it should be taken as incorrect. Now, this is exactly what I said in my pre-webinar video as well. If you see this question, now in this question, I'll just explain this question as well. Here you can see that high clouds primarily reflect solar radiation and cool the surface of the earth, right? Now, same here, this is a 2021 PYQ. Here, I have just removed the word primarily here. So here, high clouds reflect the solar radiation of the earth and cool the surface of the earth. Now, what is basically the difference here? You actually know that it is basically the low clouds that actually reflect the solar radiation, right? You know that low clouds basically reflect the solar radiation. So what do you think about this statement? The one on my right here. Is it right or is it wrong? The one on my right, is it right or wrong? It is basically wrong, right? Because it's the low clouds which primarily reflect the solar radiation and cool the surface of the earth. Now, what about here? High clouds reflect the solar radiation and cool the surface of the earth. Now, is it right? It's basically correct because UPSC can't say that high clouds doesn't reflect the solar radiation and cool the surface of the earth. Now, this is how you teach all the different elimination techniques out there. Okay, we won't be just going through the PYQ. As you have seen the pre-webinar video, I have discussed some of the non-PYQ as well. So this is the deep level of logical and elimination techniques teaching that you actually need to have a better clarity regarding the elimination techniques out there. You can't just directly show you, or people can't just directly show you some of the elimination techniques. Okay, fine. And not take the assumptions. You know what YouTubers do? They'll actually take the questions which actually suit their idea that they're propagating. They wouldn't just show you the assumptions. Now, I'm not going to do that. I'll be very careful when I say all these things. As you can see here, I'll be going into very detail on all the logics which I'm going to teach you in the session. Now, one of the other things is that we'll also be having the logical or the roundtable discussion. Now, what do we do actually in this roundtable discussion? This is one of the most important common part. Now, in terms of roundtable discussions, all of us who are part of the Dominant Prelims will joining on a Zoom meeting, or you can come here offline as well. I'll be giving you 15 questions. 15 questions. Out of that, 10 would be made up questions and 5 would be PYQ questions. And you should solve that questions in actually 15 minutes. After solving 15 questions, I'll be asking each one of you, how actually did you solve it? Now, the different people will have different strategy on how they solve the question. So therefore, you will understand how the different students actually think. You will understand how different students came up with the answer. Thereby, you'll get an idea on how the different levels of thinking. Maybe one student has only think in social aspect. Maybe one student have think on political aspect. Maybe other student have think in terms of economic aspect. Now, this is how you develop the different level of thinking. Okay. Actually, in the Unbreakable Mains, we have this challenge, right? Different students actually write the same answer. So when you compare the different answers, you will get an idea on how different students write. Now, this is we have actually copied here as well. By giving you PYQ questions, by giving you non-PYQ questions, you will understand how different student thinks, thereby helping to improve your elimination techniques as well. So I'll be giving you 15 questions. You will have 15 minutes. Now, this is one of the set of 15 questions I'll give you. And some of the most important questions, I'll ask each one of you on how you thought, and different students will reply the same. Thereby, you will get different ideas on how different students think, thereby improving your logic as well, as I said before. Now, coming to the most important aspect, I'll be your mentor. If you join for the Dominant Prelims, I can go high to I can take around 150 students. So I have cleared more than prelims 4 times consecutively. I have not given my last 2 attempts. That is why I have only cleared 4 prelims. I'm just waiting for the right opportunity. I have been the mentor to different toppers, be it Benjo. I guess most of you have seen my session with Nevin as well. So we'll be having on a weekly basis, maybe 15 to 30 minutes of mentorship sessions, be it offline or online. If you join the July batch, or if you join the November batch or December batch, you will have the mentorship session as then. So as you can see here, around 17 of my 60, I had 62 mentees last time. I was working in a different academy in Kerala. At that time, I had 62 students. Out of that, 17 students have actually qualified the prelims. And you can see all the students who have qualified and have actually forwarded the message to me here. And I usually, it's not like a regular mentorship session wherein we actually discuss some of the questions. No, it's a very comprehensive session. Okay, I'll be asking you, how did you manage your time? How many questions you attempted? We'll be discussing around 15 questions, and all that 15 questions would mostly be logical questions, and we'll be going through each and every question, and I'll be able to understand where you're going wrong or how your thought process is. So the mentorship is going to be very comprehensive. It's like following the philosophy of CD, which is actually fault finding and course correction. We'll be following the same. As you can see here, we'll also be having daily targets. I'll forward the daily targets to you. I'll follow the sub targets to you. And also, I'll also be sharing almost 5 logical questions every day. And I'll be also posting the voice feedback regarding the same. So thereby, you can actually improve your logical and elimination techniques. You don't have to wait till December to actually improve it. You can actually start improving it from July as well. So coming to the program, how does the program work? We'll be doing around 5,000 questions. We'll be having 32 tests, 12 core tests, followed by 8 advanced tests, and also 10 full test series. You'll also have preparatory tests. We'll be having around 20 hours of advanced logical training techniques. You'll be having close to 10 logical roundtable discussions. You will have 10 year PYQs discussion, which will be taken by me. Also, you will get access to the Samasha Manthan. Now, Samasha Manthan, we sell it as a separate course in CD, but then as a part of Dominant Prelims, you'll actually get access to the Samasha Manthan as well. Now, Samasha Manthan is basically our current affairs course, okay? You will get a current affairs magazine regarding the same. Every Sunday, you'll have a 25 questions test regarding the same. And also on every Saturday, you will have a weekly rewind of what that happened in the week, basically the current affairs of that week as well. Also, we'll be focusing on the micro themes. Now, you are all familiar to micro themes, right? You must have seen a number of videos of CD as well. So I'll be mostly focusing on the micro themes, thereby helping you to improve your static content as well. So as I've shown you, this is the timetable. After the advanced test, 8 advanced tests, we'll be starting the full test. So as you can see here, there's a gap of 2 weeks for almost all the subjects. Therein, you can actually focus on your mains and your optional preparation as well. So all these preparation can go hand in hand. Thereby, you don't need to eliminate prelims or you don't need to start prelims from December or November. So you'll have access to Samasha Manthan. You'll have access to the flash notes. Now, flash notes is our, I'm actually working on my flash notes now, and we are trying to make the best notes out there. Now, flash notes is going to be 1-page notes. Let's say for protected sites in India, we'll be having a 1-page of flash notes regarding the same. Let's say for rivers, because rivers is one of the most important areas of UPSC. So we have identified close to 173 most important areas of UPSC, and you will have 1-page notes regarding the same. You don't have to look elsewhere. We'll be providing you all the notes, all the documents required for you to actually clear prelims in 2026 as well. So you'll be having a beautiful AI-generated test board analytics, wherein you'll understand where you're going wrong. Let's say there was 10 questions in polity, and out of that, you have missed 3 questions, 7 questions, be it anything. You will have a test board, test analytic. Also, as I said before, you'll be having close to 20 hours of logical elimination technique discussion. And also, we'll have around 10 sessions of roundtable discussions as well. As a part of introductory offer, we are offering you a significant discount regarding the same. Previously, we had in the June batch, we have actually launched the course for 23,600. Now, as a discount, we are actually offering the course for just 19,999. And if you don't want the mentorship, if you just want the test, you can just join the course for 5,000 rupees as well. So let me tell you once again, if you're attempting 2026, don't just give it a random attempt, okay? Think like it is your last attempt. Always think every attempt as your last attempt, and you give your best shot every time. Make sure there is no loopholes. You should be, after you attempt, you should be thinking that, okay, fine, I have done almost all the things that I could have done this year, and you possibly did it as well. Now, this is the line of satisfaction that you should have while you're giving your attempt. Now, that is why I'm asking you, don't wait till December. December, you will be in a panic mode because, as I've said, you will have to finish all these portions which I have said to you. But then if you start early, even in July, you will be able to finish all these portions, because I have seen people, I have faced this in reality, right? I have a lot of mentees crying in front of me, sir, that I can't finish all these because it's too much pain, it's too much pressure, because of the reason that they only started preparing from January or be it December. So, but then please don't try to make the mistake. Start early, start on your main, start on your optional, but then do focus on your prelims as well. Yeah. So that's it, everyone. If you have any doubts regarding the same, you could just message me this time. Does anyone have any doubts? CSAT, we don't actually provide class regarding CSAT, but then regarding the class, let me tell you, I have not shown it the slide here. We'll be having classes regarding almost all the important micro themes as well. Okay, we call it the master class here on high priority revision areas. So we'll be having around 40 hours of classes regarding the high priority areas such as the rivers, the terms, the chronology of ancient and medieval history. In the browser it is actually mentioned. I have not mentioned it here. CSAT, you'll have around 6 CSAT tests as a part of your full test, but then we won't be providing classes to you regarding the same. We have not decided actually regarding the same. Yeah. So when will we have the twin logical and elimination techniques? We'll start around September. We'll have it around, by September, we'll start the logical and elimination techniques and also the roundtable discussions as well. We won't wait till December for you to improve your logical and elimination techniques. Should we practice prelims PYQs and start questions on a daily or a weekly basis? See, I'm telling you, PYQs are not something that you need. Let's say I told you in the pre-webinar, right? You should not be treating PYQ as a revision material. Okay. It's not that like you study Lakshmikant and you do all the PYQs related to polity. PYQs are not revision questions. First, you need to do the PYQs. You need to understand wherein the question comes. You need to understand how the logical and elimination technique works in PYQs. You need to understand the PYQ first, and then you need to read the Lakshmikant. Let's say if you did not read the Lakshmikant, if you did not focus on the PYQ, then you will be given equal importance to both Parliament and the chapter citizenship. Now, if you look into the PYQs, you will understand that UPSC have only asked 2 questions from citizenship in the last 10 years. So you don't need to read citizenship in that depth. You just need to skim through it. Rather, on Parliament, UPSC have asked more than 20 questions regarding Parliament. So then you need to focus more on that. So PYQ is not just for revision. Rather, PYQ is more to understand how the UPSC patterns and which portions that you need to focus more on. Okay. So can you explain the roundtable discussion? Sure. So as I said just now, in terms of roundtable discussions, we'll be discussing close to 15 questions in one session. Okay. So close to every week or even by week, we'll have one session, maybe in Wednesday or Thursday. So I'll give you 15 questions. It will be 10 non-PYQ and it will be 5 PYQ questions. And I'll give you 15 minutes to solve the same. And now in the session, I'll be asking different people. It will be a small batch, okay? It will be a batch of 15 or it will be a batch of 20 people, even if there are 100 people who have joined the Dominant Prelims. So I'll be asking each one of you how you have attempted the question. Thereby, you'll get an idea on how different students actually think. So as we actually compare the GS answers, we actually compare and study the GS answers, right? How one person have written the introduction, how another person have written the conclusion. In case of logic as well, in case of elimination techniques as well, you will understand how the other student or the other aspirant actually thinks. Thereby, you can actually improve your logical and elimination techniques as well. And also, I'll share on how to do it in a precise manner, but then you'll still get an opinion from the other aspirant on how to think on a particular question. Now, this is how roundtable discussion works. Now, these 15 questions will be spending close to 1 hour or 1.5 hours for every session. So what should my strategy if I'm relying on self-study for prelims? See, let me tell you, Sajal, prelims is not something that you can self-study and clear. Because let me tell you, prelims is getting highly competitive. It's getting be it the elimination techniques, be it the courses, be it everything. It's getting highly competitive out there because people are joining courses, people are learning, relearning. You need a mentor or someone to help you, or else you will be going through different paths. You will be joining different academies. You will be taking different courses. You need to have someone guiding you because there is a lot of noise out there. There are a lot of academies. There are a lot offering different courses there, trying to peel you out. But then you need someone to guide you, or else you will go in circles maybe. I don't know. You'll get into a loop. It's better you always join a course and do what the mentor actually tell you to do regarding the same. Yes, definitely. Not for logic or elimination techniques as such, but then regarding all the strategies, your time management, the way you study, the focus on your micro themes, be it anything, you need someone guiding you regarding the same. See, in case of beginner as well, if you have not joined any other course, okay, you can definitely join this course. But then if you're already enrolled in a mains course, it's better if you join if you're in your first attempt or even in your second attempt, if you're already enrolled in a mains course, then it's better for you to join the November batch, which is going to be our crash course. It's all the same. You will have the roundtable discussions. You will have 20 hours of logical discussions. But then if you have already enrolled regarding a mains course regarding the same, it would be a little bit hard for you to actually, because both the course you have enrolled and the schedule that we have here might be little bit different. Okay. But then if you have not joined any course or enrolled any course, it's definitely you can join this course as well. See, the 5,000 course is just that you will get the questions. You won't have access to, you'll have the questions, you can attempt these 32 tests, but then there won't be no mentorship and you will not have access to the Samasham, and then you don't have access to any of the roundtable discussions or the 20 hours of logical discussion that we have. Only in the 20,000 course, we'll be having access to mentorship, roundtable discussions, 20 hours of logical and elimination techniques, beat anything. 5,000 course, it's just that you will get our portal. You can attempt the questions, but then you need to study self regarding the same. Okay, everyone. So as I said, it's always better to start early. Don't keep it. Don't be in a loop. Treat it as your final attempt and do what you can. Do all the things that you can in this attempt as well. Even for the crash course, we'll be offering at 15,000. So it's just a difference of maybe 4,000 or 5,000 if you join in July as well. So it's the right time to join because you will be having close to around 20 hours, 20 sessions of mentorship. Difference will be there if you join in November and July. So July is actually the right time to join for mentorship as well. As you can see here, you can scan the QR code here, or you can contact the academy. If you're in Oran or if you're in Delhi, you can come to the Civilsdaily Academy and meet me, join for a one-on-one discussion regarding the same. Also, in the comment section, we have actually shared the link for the one-on-one mentorship session. You can actually join for a free one-on-one mentorship session with me as well. Yeah. So thank you everyone once again for joining. For all those who joined, it means that you are actually serious in your attempt, and I hope to meet you all as a part of Dominant Prelims as well. So once again, thank you everyone. If you have any doubts, just click on the link. You can have one-on-one session with me and you can discuss with me and take your final discussion, beat whatever. Okay, so thank you everyone.